I'm Claire Dooley. You're watching CHG TV. Welcome to the Geoengineering Report, where we identify the threat in the skies. The Northern Lights, also known as aurora borealis, have a record of observation in certain areas of Alaska for thousands of years. However, recently, they have been observed in rather unusual places in the United States. Our expert, Dane Wigington, explains what we are seeing.
Right, so quite a few people have been asking about the Northern Lights situation. What's going on with the people seeing the Northern Lights all over the world? What are people really seeing?
There are so many factors affecting Earth's miraculous atmosphere at this point. We can't fully discern what's affecting what. What we do know, Paul, you might remember back about 3+ months ago, there was a major aurora event. The visibility of that went far south into the U.S. We could see it here from my location as well. And this was back, I believe, in May. So is it just a coincidence that HAARP in Alaska, which is the most powerful ionosphere heater on the planet, that the HAARP facility issued a warning to the FAA 10 days before that event, warning air traffic to stay out of its airspace during that exact window of the event? Is that just a coincidence? I think not. And HAARP is a weapon of mass destruction. For people that don't know what HAARP is, the acronym HAARP, High Altitude Active Auroral Research Program, and the acronym means nothing. It's meant to be confusing, so people don't understand that that's a weapon of mass destruction that transmits massive amounts of power into our electrically charged ionosphere, creating a chain reaction. They're using the atmosphere for a physics lab. So again, is that just a coincidence? A warning to stay out, for air traffic to stay out of their airspace during that exact window of time. And again, let's add other factors, Paulie. We know Project Starfish Prime and Project Fishbowl, the detonation of hydrogen bombs in the magnetosphere, which is we're still experiencing repercussions of that today. We have other countries with ionosphere heaters. We don't know what they're doing. We can't know what they're doing. And so the atmosphere at this point is a battlefield, a physics lab. And to put this into perspective, the atmosphere that allows us to live on this planet, if we look at this in terms that might be a little more comprehensible, it's as thin as a layer of paint on a basketball. That's what allows us to live on planet Earth. With the ozone layer, without which we all die, and that's disintegrating too, and climate engineering is the single greatest factor. If you compress the ozone layer to a single molecular level, it's about the thickness of 2 or 3 dimes. It's about 6 millimeters thick. That's what allows us to live here. And we're destroying that layer. That's why the sun feels so intense. Have you possibly felt, Paulie, how intense the sun feels if you're on an unobstructed day? And it can wax and wane because the ozone layer thickness isn't uniform. But it's incredibly intense. It's so intense, it's burning foliage here in Northern California. It's burning the bark off of trees. Literally, the sun-exposed side on trees are burnt down to the core wood. It has killed the Cambrian layer of the tree, and no one's saying a thing.
Well, we have a question here from Lisa. She says, if possible, can you please ask Dane to speak to the fact that even the night skies are now always unnaturally bright from the geoengineering haze, even in rural areas where one used to be able to enjoy viewing the night skies. It may not be as apparent to someone who lives in a city, and it happened gradually so that some may not even notice the changes. But in my youth, I backpacked and spent a great deal of time out in natural areas, so it's obvious to me that there are no longer any nights that are pitch black.
Yeah, this is certainly the case in many regions, and we have a number of factors that can affect that. Because we have this reflective layer of particulates in the atmosphere now, Paulie, and that's part of what solar radiation management is. Jets that are spraying light scattering particles into the sky. That's the very definition of solar radiation management, to block some of the sun's incoming thermal energy with, again, no consideration of the consequences of doing so. But those same reflective particles also can reflect light from a distant urban area off that atmosphere and back down in rural areas far away that are used to black skies. It just causes that reflection to bounce around the planet. You can see how that would eliminate the dark skies and the bright stars that we once had. it not only blocks the direct view of those stars, but you have this refracted light coming from many distant locations that's now being bounced around under the atmosphere. So that's a huge part of that equation. And on the toxicological factors too, Polly, lest we forget to or address that, I want to stress that to everyone. What you see being dispersed in the skies are toxic elements, literally tens of millions of tons being dispersed annually. And that's a mathematical statistic we came up with from lab testing with the University of Minnesota, extrapolating how much materials was in the rain and projecting that globally. Tens of millions of tons of toxic nanoparticles, enough to cover entire horizons, all settles down to the planet and then contaminates our waterways, our food, our soils, and every breath we take.
We really enjoy hearing from you at CHD TV. It always brightens our day and keeps us marching forward. So if you have any questions or pictures you want to send in to Dane, please reach out to us at goodmorning@CHD TV. Thanks so much for watching the Geoengineering Report. We'll see you next time on CHD TV.